Yo, welcome back to another episode of Taylor Talk Celtics with me, your boy Adam Taylor. As usual, I'm joined by my homie, compadre, co-host in crime, Mr. Billy Calabrese, and we're going to be talking all about games 1, 2, and 3 of the Boston Celtics Summer League. Billy, you're out in Vegas. You reside in Vegas. You're living the life in Vegas, fear and loathing style. You was there in game 1. I don't know whether you've attended game 2 or 3, but I just want your overall thoughts. I don't want to go game by game because that's boring as shit for us. It's boring as shit for people watching. I just kind of want to get like a broader overview. How are you feeling about the summer league? Obviously, the Celtics championships hopes got dashed, but there's been a lot of up and only a little bit of down. So how are you coming away from this?
My two biggest takes are I could not imagine this team without Bassey. Like signing Bassey basically the day of or the day before completely changed the outlook of this team. He gives them everything they need desperately. And then on the opposite end of that is how is Kenny Lofton Jr. still on this team? I've never seen a black hole like this. Like all he does, and for whatever reason, the ball always finds him and he does not let it go. He'll miss his own shots and just keep going. He just eats possessions and he eats a lot obviously too. But it's just so frustrating. Like it's the yin and yang because everything great that Bassey does, Lofton just takes away.
My issue with Lofton is there's no value in him being in the rotation right now at all. There is for him. Obviously, he's trying to put himself in the shop window. It's not working out very well, but he's definitely trying to get a team to be like, yo, there's something there. We could take a chance on him. But for Boston and what the Celtics are trying to achieve right now, and the amount of developmental pieces they have on that roster, the ability to take a closer look at some dudes that might get Exhibit 10 deals or maybe even a two-way deal, Lofton kind of acts as a bit like a roadblock in a way because those minutes could be going elsewhere on the floor. I think his rebounding solid, his screening's good, but like you said, his usage rate, sorry, his touches, not usage rate, his touches are way too high. I don't think that he's going to make this team or even being with a shout of making any sort of noise. I doubt he'll be given an Exhibit 10. So now you've seen what he is and you've seen how he fits. I don't understand why you would keep him in the rotation. As you said, Bassey has been great. One of my biggest takeaways from Summer League. I try not to overreact, but I also try and enjoy the festivities. So my biggest overreaction is like sign that dude. And I'm not saying sign him to a full-time contract. I'm not saying give him a guaranteed deal right now. Put him on an Exhibit 10. Let him come into training camp with you. Let him battle it out with your Nemes and whoever else is there, your Luke Garza and blah, blah, blah. Let him have some work in the preseason. And then if he continues to be this version of himself that we're seeing in Summer League at obviously preseason, you see a bit of a step up in talent. Everyone you're playing against is NBA level. There's veterans there. If he's still impressing or holding his own, maybe you give him a deal. But I think he's been like one of those found money type of guys that you could really end up looking into get like securing for the season as somebody that ends up being like a valuable rotation guy.
And the other evolution we have to talk about is like Baylor. He's already made his jump from what he was last year to basically Joe Ingles right now with the playmaking, the shooting. Like you just basically trust him to kind of get you where you got to go. And the way he almost closed the game out yesterday, and it wasn't his fault that they lost. There's definitely a lot of reasons, fingers we could point. But man, Baylor carried us yesterday, and this evolution of Baylor is something really exciting.
It's just the shooting, man. The shooting has to come around. For a guy that came into the NBA as I was very big. I did that scouting report on him last year. If nobody read that, you can always go back over on the CelticsChronicle.com and read that. That was free for everybody. While you're there, you might as well drop your email address in there and start receiving newsletters daily or during the off season frequently-ish, but during the season daily. But if you like, when I remember going back and doing that scouting report, his playmaking and rebounding kind of was surprising to me because the first information you received about Baylor was this dude's a shooter. He's going to come in and he's going to be a catch and shoot guy. And that shot just hasn't been there for him during the summer league. He's been struggling quite bad, to be honest. He seems to be fine shooting logo threes and they're going in completely fine. But you ask him to shoot off the bounce or anywhere near with his foot near the perimeter, things start to go bad. So that needs to figure itself out. But rebounding, playmaking, his ability to spot some passes, some of his flashy passes. Game 1, he had that nice behind the head round pass that ended in like an easy jelly roll like layup. I say jelly roll because I was watching WE earlier. I'm very disgusted about WE, but we could talk about that. Go over to Taylor Talks Wrestling. So I'm very upset with that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think that Baylor's going to have a big role to play this year. And I think that shooting, once you start playing at an NBA pace rather than this frantic sprint up and down, try and do absolutely everything in a fraction of the time that you get in Summer League. I think once he's in NBA spacing with an NBA pace, that shot should start falling. Sooner or later, water will find its level, as Brad would say.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with like his method. He's taking shots he should take.
Yeah.
It's a make miss league. There's sometimes gonna go and not. I'm more really focused on the other stuff, the playmaking, the rebounding. I mean, you could tell he was a high school quarterback because the way he like runs a play, the way he passes, the way he sets guys up, like you can tell he just has that mentality where it's not me first, it's team first. And I don't think guys like that grow on trees. So I think he's been really a revelation. This and like you said, he hasn't shot well, but I think he's played well every game.
Yeah, I think it's like if you look at the Knicks game, I think it was. I like obviously I pull clips after the game. I go back and let me just have a look at this. So Celtics versus Knicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 consecutive clips of Shyman, like possession after possession after possession. Again, to start the game against Miami, I've got like 4. There's just clips everywhere of Shyman because he's been arguably the most complete, and this doesn't mean the best player. And I have this argument with people when I'm talking about Jason Tatum in the form of like forwards in the NBA, but he's been the most complete dude on the Celtics roster, especially offensively. I don't think anybody else can do the breadth of stuff that he can do, like the width, the amount of different options Shyman gives you. And that talking about quarterbacking, that pass off his ass. And I don't remember, was it to Shoulder? Who was it to? Was it to Walsh? It was to someone. He's like got the turnover, fell to his ass, and just threw like a fucking pitch ahead half court pass, ended up in an assist. That was to me very quarterback esque. Like just as you're about to get sacked, you're already falling backwards. You throw that shit, hit that receiver on the slot run. I don't know fuck all about NFL, but I'm hoping that made sense.
No, it's true. I mean, that pass was the Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. He threw that ball over the mountain.
Yeah,
That
dude.
pass was phenomenal. Like that was a cannon.
We can call that the McLovin of passes. You know what I'm saying? I was a big fan. I think he's played well on defense too. Like, there's been a few possessions where I feel like he's been caught up on screens or he's been completely taken out of a defensive possession on a screen. There's been others where he's navigated them well. Definitely operating more of a chase guy in pick and roll coverage. Doesn't really seem to switch on, like switch and get in front of dudes. Prefers to pressure them on their hip or in the rear view. And then just as a weak side guy, he's got active hands. He stunts well. He rotates well. Seems to get his hands in the right place a lot. I think overall he's the most NBA ready dude on that rotation.
Yeah, he's definitely the most comfortable. Like the way he
For sure.
controls the floor.
I think that, overall, definitely the most NBA ready guy. I think that when you look at the way the roster's currently set up, with Sam Hauser apparently sticking around as time, especially as things stand right now, that obviously subject to change. There's still a role for Baylor coming off the bench. I don't really see anyone else on the Summer League right now that's fighting for his minutes. I feel like he's very, very head and shoulders above everybody else in that rotation. And that includes Jordan Walsh, who's, if we're being honest, has kind of found a bit of a role for himself in Summer League. And the reason I'm bringing Walsh up now, and I want to link this to talking about Hugo Gonzales, I think there's a lot of crossover between what Walsh and Hugo do, especially offensively. Now, Walsh is obviously developed a 3-point shot a bit more than what Hugo's had the opportunity to do. Hugo's young, like very similar age, but Hugo hasn't been working in that Celtic system for as long. But in terms of like a slashing scoring threat, slot drive, stampede cuts, slashing with the ball, pressuring the rim, rebounding, good size, defense, I think there's a lot of crossover between Walsh and Hugo, but I think that Walsh definitely looks improved and looks like he's added some strength this year and he's shown off some really nice explosiveness. I think that if it does come down to, we can fit one of Hugo or Walsh into the rotation next season, Walsh is going to lose.
Yeah, he's absolutely going to lose. I thought he might have played himself off the team yesterday, getting thrown out in front
Apparently,
of
Joe loved that shit.
Bill Christian and Brad Stevens didn't seem to. He came out today and apologized to them. So, you don't want to do that in front of the new owner, in front of Brad, in front of all the front office guys. Like Joe might have liked that, but I mean, he looked out of control, Plus, like I said, we played better once he got thrown out.
Yeah. And that's the problem, right? Like if you're playing well and you're one of the best players on the team, but the team's struggling, and then you get moved off because you've been ejected or you're on the bench, and then all of a sudden there's more cohesion. Everybody's moving better. The rock's being moved around more frequently. The defense feels a bit more locked in. That's a bad sign for you as an individual and your connectivity. Now, obviously, Walsh is going to have a different impact in the NBA because his role is going to be a lot smaller. It's going to be more confined to very specific aspects, but he showed a level of immaturity in that game, especially like you can see he's about to get ejected and he's like doing the Ric Flair in someone's face, doing the woo. I'm just like, man, you've got Hugo, who's like a direct challenge for your position now, playing just like professional ball, like staying within himself. He had a rough night. I will say that. What I liked about Hugo in that rough night against Miami was he didn't let it affect him. He stayed aggressive. He stayed locked in. Didn't really seem to get shy. Let the ball fly when he needed to. Walsh, on the other hand, definitely got into his feelings a little bit. I don't know, man. I'm not a big Jordan Walsh guy to begin with, but I just think that Hugo now coming in adds a bit more pressure that I don't think Walsh is going to be able to. No, he'll be able to overcome the pressure, but the competition, I think Hugo's just got so much more upside that he's going to really struggle. Like Walsh is going to struggle to crack that rotation.
I was really impressed with Hugo. What I thought was kind of crazy is the way Miami defended him. They gave him the Jalen Brown defense. So basically, every time he put the ball on the floor, they were going to blitz him. And
Yeah,
yeah, it caused a lot of turnovers because this dude's never seen nothing like this before. But it's going to make him so much better as a basketball player overall. Like to get a taste of that now with semi NBA caliber players when he gets to the league, and they're not going to be able to do that crap. I am all the stock. I am all over Gonzales Island. Like I said, I got a condo right there at the top.
I'm
I
right there with you, man. I will say that his drives with the ball when he's trying to attack the rim, he does what a lot of rookies do, and a lot of Euro rookies do. This is more frequently than NBA rookies, especially like American rookies, but all rookies tend to do it. Is when instead of driving in a straight line, he'll drive like a curve. He'll try and create his own angle before turning the corner because he feels like one, you can avoid a bit of contact, but two, you get to you've seen guys do this. Like there's no screen, but they still kind of like peel around an invisible screen before getting downhill. And what happens is you're giving the defense kind of an alert, like, hey, he's gonna turn the corner in a second, he's gonna come downhill at us. You're giving guys time to slide over. Whereas in a year or two, I think what you're gonna see is he's just gonna go straight line drive every time. We're not gonna go and try and like circle a little bit to create an angle. Wherever we are with the ball, we're gonna power our way through. We're gonna make people bounce off us. And I think Walsh has actually learned that because Walsh used to go, I like to call it circling the drive, right? So Walsh used to circle the drive as a rookie. And then this season, like in Summer League at the moment, everything's very direct. It's very point A to point B. We're going in a straight line. I'm going to make you move, get off me type of thing. Walsh, Hugo is circling that drive at the moment. I think that once he can figure that out and he's confident is in his own strength and his own handle, especially getting pilfered a few times. Once he's got confidence there, he's going to be so scary at pressuring that rim, man. And if he can add a stop and pop counter to those drives, he's going to be fucking scary, dude, because he's so big and his hands are so massive. He's just going to have so many options available to him. Teams are going to struggle,
Well,
man. If you blitz him too early and he splits the gap, like jumps the gap, you're going to really struggle to stay in front of him after that.
my thing is, we always talked about Walsh and how he had like already NBA ready defense. So even though all of his flaws, that you could kind of put him on the court and just feel okay because of his NBA ready defense. I think Ugo is already way past that because I mean, this dude defends like a monster. Like he really does have that Josh Hart, Marcus Smart kind of gene. He makes things happen. Now, maybe he probably does reach a little too much. That's where you see a lot of the fouls, but he creates a lot of turnovers doing that.
Very gritty, stunts really well, seems to play with quite a high level of aggression, doesn't care if he switches, doesn't care if he's rotating onto a guy. I've seen you like, and I don't think he's going to be shy about cross matching or switching onto bigger dudes. I think he's going to embrace those challenges. He seems like somebody that just genuinely likes the physical side of the game and likes to be a little bit scrappy. Now, are we going to see him diving on the floor all the time? Probably not. I don't think that's his game. But what you probably will see is him getting up into guys' chests and like really fighting for rebounds. Some of his putbacks as well. If you go back and watch his highlight reels, and you go and watch like that first bucket he scored in game one of the summer league, he's very, very explosive, very physical in how he goes after rebounds. He seems to like really cherish that rock in terms of rebounding the ball, and a lot of good offense for him comes off those second chance opportunities.
Yeah, he's got a great nose for the ball. His instincts are awesome, especially on the offensive boards, but even on the defensive boards, he's just so aggressive. You don't see a lot of guys, especially at 19, want to get down there and get dirty.
No, you don't. And I think that when you look at just being a professional in Europe for 2 years has its upside. Now he didn't get the minutes he needed to. Now, if anybody's watching this wondering, like, well, how did Hugo do in Europe? If you go back onto the channel, search a few down, we had Antonio Diaz, a G League scout that's been following Hugo for a long time. He was on the show a few weeks back, just after Hugo was drafted. It gave us really deep insight into like Hugo's game and what to expect. And one of the things he noted was, yeah, Hugo didn't get a ton of minutes in terms of in the Euro League or in the Liga ABA or whatever it's called where Madrid play, but he spent 2 years in practice going up against guys that are genuine like pros, and some NBA guys play or former NBA guys play on that Real Madrid roster, so it's not like he wasn't getting minutes. I think one of them was like Hezonja, like he was battling for position with Hezonja for 2 years. So he's learned and been around an NBA level environment and a professional level environment for the last 2 years. That's gonna pay dividends in terms of like his ability to adapt and his ability to deal with the aggression a lot more than a guy coming out of college.
Yeah, and I don't know what his ceiling is because I think he already has more promise than say Super Mario did, who kind of flamed out in the league. I do see a lot of Rudy Fernandez in his game. Like I said, I always compare him to Josh Hart because I think he could be a bigger Josh Hart, especially with his hand. Like, I mean, that's insane. But I'm really excited. Like I said, I think he's actually going to get rotation minutes this year.
Yeah.
Not only because we're going to be bad, but because I think he's going to earn them.
I actually think that if you're in a retooling year, he's the type of guy you've picked him on a flyer. Now give him a year and see where he is at the start versus where he is at the end. I'm not saying he's going to be a starter. Probably won't even be a core rotation guy. But if Drew Peterson can play, what did Peterson play? Like 25, 35 games last season off the bench? If Peterson can get 25 games, albeit unlimited minutes, then Hugo should easily get 50. You know what I mean? And I was a Peterson guy. I did like best of luck to him over in Charlotte as well. But other than that, like I think Shulga's been all right. Miles Norris, I always think Norris looks super big on the floor when I watch him
Yeah.
play out. Like, dude, man, you are so big compared to everybody else. I wouldn't hate him being back on the two-way and getting a bit of a look. Other than that, I don't really have many more takes. I'm just like, yo, the guys that are meant to be good have been good. Amari Williams, I'd like to touch on my compatriot for a moment there. Uh, He's all right. Nah, jokes aside, I'd like to see him run more offense. I'd like to see the offense run through him more a little bit. I know I posted this on socials. We spoke about it before we came on air. You've seen him live now. What's your take on him?
You know what's funny? I really wish for his sake that we didn't have Bassey because I think Bassey just stole all of his thunder.
Yeah.
But there is something there. I could see why they drafted him. I could see why he's going to have his two-way. Like he has the passing gene, and you have a big man with that. You could always work with that. He's springy, he's active, but like I said, if we didn't have Bassey, like we would be really throwing flowers at this guy because the other option would have been Kenny Lofton at the big end. We know how we feel about Kenny Lofton Jr.
I do want to point out there that this is summer league, so like a lot of this stuff won't translate that we're talking about right now. Like we're very certain we're not, but we need, it's basketball and we get to talk about it. We all liked Anton Watson last year. We all thought Anton Watson looked like a baby Horford, somebody that could come in and potentially develop into a young version that can replace Horford on a certain scale. Obviously, not the same. He's not there no more. The Celtics played him because he was on the Knicks roster, right, for Summer League, and you didn't even notice he was on the floor and didn't do shit. He's not there no more. So just because a guy's having a good Summer League doesn't mean he's going to crack the rotation or be good in the G League. And just because a guy's having a bad Summer League doesn't mean he's going to suck ass either. It's kind of just is what it is, but it's definitely fun to watch. It's definitely fun to talk about.
Yeah, you could see the seeds being planted, but you're really not going to know what they're going to become because, like, Marcus Banks was the all-time leading scorer in Summer League and didn't exactly have the greatest NBA career. So, doesn't translate one for one.
And with that, I'm gonna let everybody go. Billy, is there anything you want to say to these fine people before we bounce?
Hey, there's still a few more days in Summer League. Come out to Vegas, say what's up.
With that, everybody make sure to follow me over on the Celtics Chronicle. Sign up, subscribe, do whatever you need to do. Make sure you show Billy some love over on Letterboxd. I have resident movie buff Bill Lee. Sorry, I nearly called you Bill. Billy, how can I find you on Letterboxd?
CBO041. It's a movie everybody's talking about, and rightfully so. Superman. It's awesome. Go see it.